Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ellis Nordhoff, and today I'm joined by Sim from We Are Tottenham TV for the opposition view for Everton's game against Tottenham, 3 p.m. on Saturday. How are you doing, Sim?
Thanks for having me on, Ellis. Yeah, I'm doing very well, thank you. Spurs in a better place maybe than maybe if you would have faced us a couple of weeks ago. So feeling a bit more confident going into this one.
Yeah, I think it was a few weeks ago. I was thinking, oh, this might be a great time to play Tottenham, but you seem to have steadied the ship a bit. Of course, that disastrous day against Chelsea when everybody seemed to get injured, and that was a really tough one to take, I think, and it made it difficult for the next few games. But it seems like you've almost recovered that a bit now and got back on track. Do you think that's the case?
I think definitely results wise, it's a bit weird one because even though we suffered lots of injuries and that Chelsea game was an absolute disaster, the performance level didn't massively drop after that game, apart from maybe on a couple of occasions like the Wolves game. The performance level was always quite high, but we didn't make our quality count and results. We got a few unlucky results like against Aston Villa, against West Ham, where we should have really won those games. So we got a few players back for the Newcastle game. We got like big players like Sarr back, Richarlison's back from his surgery, and it just gave us a bit more energy. And all of a sudden, we were able to match the opposition's energy off the ball, and that really did help us. So we've won two in a row now off the back of 5 games where we took the lead and didn't win in consecutive games, which was a Premier League record. But we're off the back of 2 wins in a row now, so we're definitely feeling a lot better considering 2 wins in a row, and then also obviously how we start the season. But the problem is going into this one, Basuma picked up a red card against Forest, and Udogie picked up a fifth yellow, so he's suspended. So with all the good things happening, we get more players missing again, so that's frustrating.
Yeah, I suppose that's going to be even more difficult to deal with. Obviously, you've still got Madison out as well, and Bentancur, I think, and then Brennan Johnson did get a head injury, didn't he, in the last game? But I think he might be all right for that. How's it looking lineup wise? Do you think it'll be pretty similar to the last game?
Well, there's a lot of selection headaches because with Udogie out, Ben Davis, who's our backup left back, has been deputising at centre back for the last few weeks. So I don't know. I think probably Emerson's going to come at left back. And the last time he started at left back, wasn't pretty. Basically, wasn't great. So I'm not so lineup wise on that front. No, Dogu is definitely going to hurt us. But I can't really envisage any other option but having Emerson there unless we put Davis back out wide and maybe bring in Dyer. But I think he's avoided doing that. So a bit of a mishmash at the back, and then Basuma's out, so Højbjerg is going to have to probably come in midfield, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but I still think Basuma's a high level. But other than that, I think we're pretty much going to be the same as how we've been the past couple of weeks. Sar's still going to be fit. Kulusevski is now playing this new central role, which he's excelling at. Brennan Johnson, he got a nasty gash on his head in the Forest game, but he's had stitches, and I think he's going to be okay for the weekend. There was no concussion. And then Richarlison is banging form, just in time to face his old club. So that's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, the wealth of attacking talent that you guys have, that's worrying enough. But when our former players banging them in as well, it's great to see for us that Richarlison is doing well because we, of course, still love him from his time at Everton. But I do think for this game, we just hope he stays quiet. But what's been the key to his form recently? Because he really has just took off. And of course, he had the surgery, didn't he? So maybe that was hampering him. And then confidence was low as well. And maybe when you just get scoring, that's it from there. Do you think that's what's happened?
I think Everton fans probably know better than us that he definitely thrives off confidence, doesn't he? When he's confident, he's a completely different player, and that's something that he's definitely suffered a lot since coming to Spurs. Obviously, last season was a complete disaster for him and for Spurs in general. But for him, one Premier League goal, his level of performance was really, really bad. I was a massive advocate of bringing in Richarlison. I was a massive fan of his at Everton, so I was really excited when we brought him in. But last season did not go well. I have to admit. He struggled to control the ball at times. It was really difficult to watch. He opened up at the beginning of the season about some mental issues and personal issues he's been going through our last few months, basically. A lot of issues in his personal life, and that was something where he he opened up about his struggling and that he's hopefully come over it. And then a lot of people obviously praised him for that, and I was really happy with him opening up about it. And then a week after that, he comes off the bench against Sheffield United in the 90th minute and scores an assist and wins us the game. And then he went on a bit of a run of got a really good assist against Liverpool and a good assist against Fulham, and he seemed to go on a run. And then these physical issues started to come to the fore, and he's again he started to really struggle with his movement. You could see he wasn't moving freely, and he basically needed to have surgery. And then so he's had surgery. He was out for about a month, and then his first game back from surgery was a Newcastle game. Starts the game and bangs in 2 goals, and it was probably his best performance in the Spurs shirt completely. And he would look like a new player, completely new player, back in his number 9 position as well, because he's been playing a bit off the left this season. But I think he wants to be playing in the number 9 position. And he's played their last 2 games. In fact, the 2 goals he got against Newcastle were the first goals he had scored with his feet for Tottenham
Oh,
in his
really?
career, which is incredible to think about. Yeah, all of the others' goals have been with his head. And then he scored against Nottingham Forest to keep that momentum going. And he seemed like a player with new confidence, new freedom with his movement, and someone finally I feel like we're seeing that Richarlison from Everton who he signed, because I just don't feel like we've seen that player so far in a Spurs shirt. Even this season when he's done well, hasn't quite been at that level. But past 2 games, I think we've seen a glimpse of that Richarlison from Everton, which we're all so desperate to see. And he's been brilliant. I think he's been brilliant. So hopefully he's got over those issues that's been plaguing him during his time at Spurs, and he can really start to get some consistency in his game.
I'm really happy for him overall because, of course, yeah, he's opened up about the mental health issues. And at Everton, actually, he played a lot of games when he was injured, and he really did put his body on the line for us in the time where we desperately needed him. And he kept us up that season. Him and Jordan Pickford really did keep us up, and he just gives absolutely everything for us. So it's good to see him doing well. Of course, I hope he has a quiet one on Saturday, but he's doing well at the moment, and it's come at a good time as well because, of course, Heung-min Son will be going off to the Asian Cup, won't he, in a few weeks. So Richarlison's got to step up again, and for Everton to come to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium when he's playing well and you guys are back on it reduces the chances even more. And we don't tend to do well at your ground. I don't think I've seen us win there in front of fans. I think we beat you during COVID, but in front of fans, I don't think I've seen it. So it's been a long time, and Everton are going to find it very difficult to keep you guys out. And I suppose we'll be going with the usual template, solid defensive performance, hoping to hit you on the break. And I don't know if we'll quite be able to keep Tottenham out. How do you think, looking at this game in particular, it'll go? Because obviously Everton have been in great form in the league. We had a big knockback against Fulham in the cup. So out the cup now, maybe the bubbles burst a bit. It might be quite deflating, but the league form can't be denied. Of course, we're doing well. So what do you think about this game in particular?
I definitely think a lot of Spurs fans are going into this game thinking it's going to be extremely difficult. I don't think we're looking at it thinking, look, Everton 16th in the league, it's going to be a walkover. Not a chance. I think, especially your league form, was it 6 wins in 8 in the league? It's an incredible run of form that Sean Dyche has got you on. That point deduction really seems to have galvanized Everton in a weird way, and it seems to have given you like a bit of a us against them kind of mentality and kind of brought everyone together. Because I thought near the beginning of the season you were struggling a bit. I thought even at times, with some of the football you've played and you weren't really getting the results at the beginning of the season. I think what was it? You lost the first 3 games, didn't you? And then
Yeah.
you went on this long losing home streak. I was thinking, Sean Dyche can't turn this around. He might be on his way soon because I think Everton fans are willing to put with this kind of football if it's doing them well. But I think Everton fans like to watch, exciting, fast-paced football. And if Dyche is not getting the results, that's not going to stand him a good stead. But he's really turned it around. Performance levels really improved. Away from home, I think he's been astonishing all season. To be fair, you've had a really good away form. So I think, and as well, Spurs before the Newcastle game, obviously off the back of 3 home defeats in a row against teams like West Ham, who sat back, kind of rode their luck, bided their time, and hit us well, to be honest, it was 2 self-inflicted goals on that day. But we've kind of been burnt a few times at home where we've dominated, had chances, missed good chances, and then suffered sucker punches essentially. So that's definitely prime for an Everton team. That's going to be the game plan, and we've seen that. We've been seeing it done it against us this season a few times. So I think Everton are a very physical team, very good at set pieces, which is probably one of our weakest spots as well. Defending set pieces, we do seem to concede quite a few from them, albeit I do think we have quite a good record scoring them, but conceding them, we're not very good at that. So I definitely think it's going to be a difficult game. And as well, if we win, we actually go 3 points off the top of the league with Liverpool playing Arsenal on Sunday. So that really, in a weird way, really puts pressure from us onto the top two. And that's also a prime reason why Spurs usually slip up in this kind of game, where we have a chance to really put pressure on the top teams and actually have a real go. We usually end up slipping up and not winning. So I think Tottenham fans are not going into this expecting a victory, or I think obviously we're favourites, and it will be a massive disappointment if we don't win. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think we're going into thinking it'll be a massive shock if we don't win in that case, because I think Everton are kind of perfect to play against us in a weird way with their aggressive style, their ability from set pieces. But I think Spurs fans know, if we can play how we know we can play and how we've played in the last couple of games, we could blow Everton away early on, and then within half an hour could find ourselves 2-0 up, and then it's a different game. And then I think then Everton will struggle to come back into it. But if Everton kind of ride the storm early on, kind of be resolute, so don't concede any stupid goals, then the longer that game goes 1-0 to Spurs or 0-0, and Spurs aren't getting that second goal, it's just prime for Everton to find their way back in the game, and that's going to be difficult for Spurs to deal with. So I'm not taking this game for granted by any stretch, but if I'm predicting the game, I'd still probably predict Spurs to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if we drop points here.
I think you're exactly right about how, the longer the game goes on, that will suit Everton. And when we've got the first goal in games, we actually haven't lost in the league this season. So it just shows how crucial it is. It shouldn't be that way, but when we get the first goal, we tend not to lose. And when we don't score first, we've got a bad record of getting back into it. Last night against Fulham, we did go behind and we showed quite a lot of resilience and fight to stay in that game, get back into it, and obviously end up taking it to penalties where we got beat. But we've not seen many times where we've gone behind and we've turned it round yet. Recent form, a lot of it is because we scored the first goal, but it's time to see, like, if we do go behind, can we turn a game round like that? And I think if you guys score first, it will be a completely different game, and one that I don't think we could probably claw back from if we went behind. But it'll be interesting to see. But individually, if you look at the players, who are you thinking is a player who can really hurt Tottenham? Because obviously we've got Arnaut Danjuma, who you guys know well, hasn't played that much, but did come on last night and look bright. And then you've got the usual starters, your Dwight McNeils, Jack Harrison, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Who are the ones you're looking at thinking this is where Everton can hurt you?
Well, actually, it's probably a player who's probably going to be missing in Decore. I would have said, because it seems like he's not going to be. Is that guaranteed? He's not going to be fit for the weekend,
I
or
think
is it
it's
still a bit
almost
up in the air?
guaranteed that he won't be fit.
Because he's one where, plays central, makes those late runs in the box. He's so physical, so hard to deal with. I would have earmarked him, to be honest, if I was to say anyone. But maybe to Tottenham's credit, it looks like he's going to be out. I would say we are definitely vulnerable from wide areas because we like to play these inverted fullbacks with usually Udogie and Porro, but obviously Udogie's not going to be playing. And usually what that means is if you can transition the ball quickly, there's a lot of space out wide to deal with. And I know Dwight McNeil's in good form. He's playing really well at the moment on that left-hand side. He's almost like a throwback left winger he's like a modern day Stuart Downing. That's how I would describe him.
Yeah.
He's kind of like not got amazing pace, but got really good delivery. He's not slow, and obviously got great technique with that left foot. Really good at set pieces, and he's obviously Sean Dyche knows him well. And I think he could find a lot of space from Porro, albeit what I would say is Porro is a brilliant offensive right back, so he might be more and I know McNeil's very good when it comes to like tracking back, doing his defensive duties. He's one of the best in the league at doing that kind of thing. So be interesting to see if he's more interested in tracking Porro back and pin back a bit from him, or if he does find that space. But if he does attack Porro, there's definitely going to be space there. Jack Harrison on your right hand side up against Emerson. That's probably going to be our main source of where I think we might struggle, because I think Emerson, he's a decent defensive fullback, but I think him on the left hand side up against some like a tricky customer like Harrison, it could be difficult. I would say your best source of joy probably will come from Calvert-Lewin because Ben Davis playing a centre back has done a great job, but the one game he did struggle was against Villa, and that's because Watkins was very, very physical up against him. And Davis, for all his for all the praise we've been giving him for him being a centre back, he's just not the most like look, he's just not the most physical centre back. He's a natural left back. He's not the tallest. He's not the strongest. He's really good at reading the game and positionally all that kind of stuff. So that makes him useful in our system. But when push comes to shove, if you lump in the ball to Calvert-Lewin and he's sticking on Davis, 9 times out of 10 he'll probably win the ball. To be honest, so I think that's got to be a worry if you're spamming crosses in the box and Calvert-Lewin's in there up against Davis. That's definitely something which I'm worried about.
I'd have backed Van de Ven probably to deal with Calvert-Lewin quite well because he hasn't scored for quite a few weeks now. He holds the ball up really well. He offers us a lot in our play in general. He's massive to us, but the goals haven't been there recently. So hopefully against a smaller defender who's normally a fullback, that could be an opportunity for him to have some joy. I think if Mickey Van de Ven was there, he's obviously so quick, so powerful as well. I think he'd have struggled to get past him, but that is definitely an option for us. But then we have to keep out the other end as well. Like, of course, this might be the odd counterattacks, but you've got to think like how many chances are we going to get in this game? And we have to be clinical with them. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin needs to take the chance that he might get one all game. He's got to take it. So for us, it's really about breaking with purpose and actually using the ball well when we get it. Because you think what's going to be coming the other way. I imagine Heung-min Son, you said Kulusevski's been bright recently too. Richarlison. Is there any particular one of them that you think is going to have the most joy against Everton? Is it Kulusevski? Because obviously we jumped to say Son, but is he perhaps an underappreciated player in Kulusevski?
Kulusevski, I think, has been having a really good season overall, but the last few weeks we've played him in the central role, in basically in a 4-3, basically more of a number 10 than out wide. Majority of the season he's played on the right wing, but Brendan Johnson looks a lot more comfortable on the right. So we wanted to maneuver that situation. So we put Kulusevski in the centre, and he has been absolutely dynamite. I have to say, he's been extraordinary in that central role because he's not just really creative. And I think anyone can see what quality Kulusevski has technically. Brilliant left foot, great appreciation for space, and really good vision. But it's his upper body strength and his ability to ride challenges and his press resistance, which has really made him a real threat in that central role. And he's been so hard to deal with for anyone really in that central role. And he's been a real breath of fresh air. Obviously, we've had Maddison there this season, who's obviously out, and he was probably one of the best players in the Premier League before he got injured. Lo Celso's had a couple games there as well, and then he's kind of been left out the side now, even though he scored 2 goals in 2 games. Kulusevski's come in. I think since Sarr's come back from injury, he just wants to find a bit of that better balance. And we were playing Lo Celso and Kulusevski together on a couple of occasions, but although it looked brilliant on the ball, didn't quite have the right balance off the ball. So now he's put Kulusevski next to Sarr, and Kulu's just been absolutely on fire recently. Obviously, he's going to be up against players like Onana and maybe Idrissa Gueye, who are very physical, very, very hard to get past. They'll probably feel like they're up for the challenge. But Kulusevski will be. I think he's so confident now. He doesn't mind facing anyone. So for me, he's probably our most informed player, and he's having a wonderful time of it recently. So definitely one to watch out for. I think definitely one to keep your eye on.
It must be great to know that you've got that backup option to play centrally. Of course, he's a good winger as well, isn't he? And he's got that height and he's got a bit more. What you say about the upper body strength is important when you're in the middle, isn't it? You don't want to be too lightweight. And it's great that he's moved into the middle and you're having success there because when Maddison got injured, I thought that was such a big blow for Tottenham because you don't have anyone who's in the exact mold of him, no one quite with the quality. And he's been a brilliant signing, hasn't he? So for him to then slot in and Kulusevski to start thriving there, that's massive for you guys. But Onana is probably going to be up against him. And he had a very difficult night last night, Onana. His penalty was, well, it just went straight into the goalkeeper's hands, and he'll be so disappointed with that. He'll feel like he's really let the side down. So I'm expecting a big performance from Onana. So that's going to be a massive battle in the centre of the park, especially with the physicality of both of them. And Amadou Onana, I think, is going to be are key to us. When we get hold of that ball on the counter, can he drive forward and push us on? Because we're going to need to get up the pitch. We can't just sit in your half all day camping out trying to block the shots and stuff. Obviously, we're going to have to push out at some point, and he could be the man to kind of steer us forward a bit. So hopefully he does. But let's get into a prediction now. So what are you thinking? Of course, earlier you said you think Tottenham will win, but it will be difficult. So what score would you put it down as?
I'm gonna go difficult. I'm gonna go 2-0. I do think Spurs will find those moments of quality. I think Everton are gonna definitely make it difficult for us. But I'm just gonna bank on the fact that obviously no Decore is not playing. Is Mikalenko out as well? Was he set to
Yeah,
be fit for this
he's
one?
out. So we're probably going to have a centre
He's
back and
he's
full back.
out. I think that's going to benefit us as well because as much as defensively you might be well like Brendan Johnson will be looking at that thinking I can really get at that a player on that side. I'm just going to bank on the fact that we're going to ride some good momentum, good form that we're in after 2 wins on the trot, and hopefully we can get a couple of early goals and just manage the game really well. That's what I'm going to bank on. But look, if Everton are able to shut us out and make things difficult, I wouldn't be surprised if Everton do snatch a draw or even maybe a win if they are able to get ahead in the game. So I'm going to predict Spurs to win 2-0, but yeah, this game is definitely harder to call than maybe it would have been a few weeks ago.
Well, we need to bounce back as well. Of course, disappointing result to go out in the cup, and I feel like that can really deflate a group, can't it, if you're knocked out of a cup. So we need to react quickly and get a good result on the board just to make sure we can park that and then move forward. So for me, even a draw would be a great result. Going to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium of late, it's been really difficult for us. So I'm going to back a draw. I'm going to back a 1-1. I think we'll probably take the lead and then you'll nick one back because there will just be a wave of pressure. And, when you face that onslaught from Tottenham, it's quite hard to keep you out normally, especially with Postecoglou's new attacking ideas and such a great way of playing. So I'm going to back a draw, and that is quite optimistic, but we'll have to see. But before we go, got one final question for you, mate. Okay. So if you could sit with three people, footballers, celebrities, anybody, down for a meal, who would it be and why?
I would probably go for Paul Gascoigne. I think he would be an absolute laugh and will probably end up getting absolutely battered. So that'll be a lot of fun. Um, Probably joining in would be Peter Crouch. I'd love to spend an evening with Peter Crouch as well. I think he'd be a great laugh. He'd have some great stories. And we'll probably go after to see Kasabian. That'll be great.
Yeah.
And then who else would I probably go with? Robbie Keane, because he's my childhood hero. He seems a lot of fun as well. A lot of banter with him. So I'll probably go with those three.
Interesting. Three Tottenham lads as well, of course. Sure there'll be a bit of banter there as well. Peter
Exactly. Come
Crouch,
on.
we've seen how much of a lad he is as well with his podcast. So I'm sure that'll be good fun. Like, thanks so much for coming on though, Sim. It's been great having you on.
No worries, Ellis. Appreciate you having me on and look forward to see you soon.
Yeah, it should be an interesting game, but I think we can get a point. I don't know whether the others think that in the comments, but please do let us know if you think Everton can get something from this game. Hopefully, we can bounce back after that really disappointing exit on penalties last night. But please do leave a like, subscribe to the Toffee Blues. But that's all for now. See you in a bit. Brilliant. Thanks very much for that, mate.